What if your garden could feed itself, water itself, and protect itself from pests without you putting much effort? The Amish have cracked the code on effortless gardening using simple tricks that turn nature into your personal garden assistant. These 50 secrets will cut your workload in half while boosting your harvest, and most cost absolutely nothing to try. Barn floor sweepings. Weekly sweeping of barn floors creates the perfect fertilizer blend that many gardeners overlook completely. Amish farmers have perfected this art of turning barn waste into garden treasure through their methodical collection routine. They gather straw, manure, and feed scraps that naturally accumulate, creating an ideal carbon-nitrogen ratio for soil building. Spread this mixture 2 to 3 inches thick around plants each spring for slow-release nutrition that lasts the entire growing season. The decomposition process feeds plants gradually, eliminating expensive store-bought fertilizers while using materials that would otherwise become waste. This method transforms ordinary farm byproducts into garden gold that commercial fertilizers struggle to match. Ashes with chicken manure. Wood ash from heating stoves raises soil pH while providing essential potassium that plants desperately need for strong growth. Amish communities discovered that combining this ash with chicken manure creates the perfect balanced fertilizer that prevents root burning. Mix 1 part ash with 4 parts aged chicken manure to harness this traditional soil enhancement technique. Chickens produce better fertilizer than any fancy spreader machine ever could. Chicken droppings supply high nitrogen content, but alone they can damage tender plant roots. The ash neutralizes acidity and creates a gentle yet powerful soil amendment that costs absolutely nothing to produce while outperforming many commercial alternatives. Fall tillage for soil building. Turn soil in late fall after harvest, leaving the surface deliberately rough rather than smooth and finished. Amish gardeners have relied on this method for generations, understanding that nature does the heavy lifting during cold months. Winter freeze-thaw cycles naturally break up clay particles and improve soil structure without any additional work required. Spring planting requires minimal soil preparation since winter weather has already created ideal growing conditions. Research demonstrates this technique increases water infiltration by 40% compared to spring-only tillage, creating more drought-resistant gardens that require less maintenance and watering throughout the growing season. Corn cobs for heavy clay. Grinding dried corn cobs and working them into clay soil each fall transforms difficult growing conditions into productive garden space. Amish farmers use this free byproduct from corn processing to create essential air pockets and drainage channels that heavy clay soil desperately needs. The fibrous material provides long-term soil improvement rather than quick fixes through slow decomposition over 2 to 3 years. Corn cobs are the ultimate soil diplomats, breaking up even the toughest arguments between clay particles. This method saves money while dramatically improving soil structure. The gradual breakdown ensures sustained benefits that continue working season after season without repeated applications. Furrow irrigation for row crops. Creating shallow channels between planted rows with a simple hoe directs water exactly where plants need it most effectively. Amish agricultural practices have long included this targeted approach that concentrates rainwater and irrigation directly at root zones. Plants absorb water through their roots, not their leaves, making this method far more efficient than overhead watering systems. These traditional gardeners reduce water waste by 60% using this technique compared to sprinkler systems. The furrows capture and channel precious moisture during storms while preventing erosion and water loss. This simple yet effective method works particularly well during drought conditions. Windbreaks around gardens. Strategic tree and plant placement around garden perimeters reduces wind speed by 50 to 80%, creating protective microclimates for tender vegetables. Amish settlements position these natural barriers to maximize protection while ensuring adequate sunlight reaches crops throughout the growing season. Protected growing areas lose 30% less soil moisture to evaporation, reducing watering requirements significantly. The best windbreaks work so well, even the neighborhood gossip stays contained in the garden. Extended growing seasons result from warmer microclimates that shield delicate plants from harsh weather conditions. These living barriers provide multiple benefits, including reduced water loss and protection from damaging winds. The only product we'll ever promote on our channel is a book by Claude Davis, a veteran prepper, about 126 superfoods and preservation methods from crisis times like the Great Depression and wartime that are impossible to find elsewhere. We decided to promote his book because we are the last generation able to share these techniques and superfoods to our children or grandchildren. It would be a shame to see this information about highly nutritious foods and preservation methods to survive crises disappear. You can also find a book about herbal remedies from Nicole Apelian on their store. If you're watching this on TV, you can look up our channel, Frugal Solutions, on your phone or tablet and find the books by clicking the link in our channel description or any other video description. Mulch highway system. 3-foot-wide mulch pathways between garden beds create efficient water management systems that work automatically without any mechanical intervention. Amish communities appreciate this method because it combines practical foot traffic solutions with natural plant feeding systems in one design. These organic highways absorb rainwater during storms and slowly direct moisture to planted areas where it benefits growing plants most. Decomposing mulch feeds nutrients to adjacent plants through natural soil processes, eliminating separate fertilization needs. The design eliminates complex irrigation setups while maintaining easy access to all garden areas for maintenance and harvesting activities throughout the growing season. Pond clay for water storage. Clay material from pond excavation creates reliable water storage systems that last decades without expensive maintenance or replacement costs. Amish communities save this natural material to line rain collection areas, preventing water seepage that wastes precious moisture during dry periods. The clay performs better than synthetic liners while costing absolutely nothing since it comes from necessary excavation work. Clay ponds never leak secrets because they know how to keep things sealed tight. This traditional water conservation method helps gardens survive extended drought periods without relying on expensive municipal water supplies or complex irrigation systems that require ongoing energy costs. Kerosene lamp pest trap. Shallow pans filled with soapy water placed under kerosene lamps create effective nighttime pest control systems that work while you sleep. Amish farmers have used this technique for generations, understanding that many destructive insects are most active after dark when conventional methods become less effective. Flying insects naturally gravitate toward light sources and fall into water where they drown before damaging crops. This method catches moths, beetles, and other nocturnal pests that cause significant garden damage during evening hours. One strategically placed lamp protects approximately 1/4 acre of garden space economically and efficiently. Diatomaceous earth for plants. Food-grade diatomaceous earth consists of microscopic fossilized algae that mechanically cuts through soft insect bodies without harming plants, humans, or beneficial garden insects. Amish gardeners value this method because it provides effective pest control without introducing harmful chemicals into food production systems. Spread thin layers around vulnerable plants after rain creates protective barriers against slugs, aphids, and crawling pests effectively. The only thing sharper than diatomaceous earth is a grandmother's wit at Sunday dinner. This natural mineral works mechanically rather than chemically, making pest resistance impossible to develop over time, maintaining natural balance for generations. Ash and lime dust. Mix wood ash with agricultural lime in equal parts to create a powerful deterrent against soft-bodied garden pests. Amish farmers have long used this alkaline mixture to protect their crops from slugs, cutworms, and ants that can devastate young plants overnight. Dust the combination around vulnerable plants, focusing on areas where these pests typically hide during daylight hours. The alkaline mixture damages soft exoskeletons and creates an uncomfortable barrier that pests avoid crossing. Reapply after rain to maintain the protective barrier, as moisture reduces the effectiveness of this natural pest control method. This dual-action approach costs pennies compared to commercial pest control products while providing reliable protection. Livestock for pest control. Allow chickens to forage freely in garden beds immediately after harvest to eliminate overwintering pest problems naturally. Amish communities understand that chickens eagerly devour pest eggs and larvae hiding in soil throughout the cold months. Chickens are nature's cleanup crew with feathers and attitude. Pigs clear weedy areas while simultaneously tilling soil through their natural rooting behavior, preparing beds for next season's planting. This controlled grazing approach eliminates 70 to 80% of potential pest problems before they can emerge in spring. The animals provide valuable services while finding free food sources, creating a beneficial relationship that reduces both pest pressure and feed costs for the coming growing season. Corn planting depth. Plant corn seeds at a depth equal to 3 times the seed width for optimal germination rates and strong root development. Amish farmers adjust this basic rule based on soil conditions, planting deeper in sandy soil and shallower in heavy clay. Seeds planted too shallow develop weak root systems that cannot support tall corn stalks during windy conditions or drought stress. Proper planting depth increases germination rates from 60% to 90%, dramatically improving crop yields and reducing the need for replanting. This simple measurement technique requires no special tools while ensuring consistent results across different soil types and weather conditions throughout the planting season. Soaking seeds in rainwater. Rainwater's natural pH and mineral content significantly improves seed germination compared to treated municipal water or well water. Amish gardeners collect rainwater specifically for this purpose, understanding its superior properties for starting seeds successfully. Soak seeds for 12 hours before planting to soften seed coats naturally and trigger the germination process. Rainwater is like a spa treatment for seeds minus the cucumber slices. Pre-soaked seeds germinate 2 to 3 days faster than dry planted seeds, giving them a crucial head start during the growing season. This free water source provides better results than expensive seed starting solutions while eliminating concerns about chlorine and other chemicals that can inhibit natural germination processes. Soil readiness. Grab a handful of soil and squeeze tightly in your fist to determine if conditions are right for planting or cultivation work. Amish farmers rely on this simple test rather than expensive soil moisture meters or complicated testing equipment. If the soil crumbles when poked with your finger, the moisture level is perfect for planting and working. If the soil stays compressed in a ball shape, wait 3 to 7 days for additional drying before attempting any garden work. This prevents soil compaction that can damage soil structure for years, creating hard pan layers that restrict root growth and water infiltration permanently. Plant spacing using body measurements. Use your hand span, approximately 8 to 9 inches, for spacing large plants like cabbage, broccoli, and other brassicas throughout the garden. Amish communities have relied on body measurements for generations, eliminating the need for rulers, measuring tapes, or other tools during planting. The best measuring tools are the ones attached to your wrists. Thumb width provides perfect 1-inch spacing for small seeds, while foot length creates ideal row spacing for most vegetable crops. These natural measurements provide consistent spacing without carrying additional equipment, making garden layout faster and more efficient. Body measurements remain constant and reliable, ensuring proper plant spacing that maximizes yields while preventing overcrowding that leads to disease problems. Manure hotbed system. Dig a pit 18 inches deep and fill completely with fresh horse manure to create a natural heating system for early season growing. Amish farmers cover the manure with 6 inches of quality soil to create the planting surface above the heat source. Decomposing manure generates consistent heat for 6 to 8 weeks, maintaining soil temperatures that allow planting 4 to 6 weeks earlier than normal spring conditions. This system extends the growing season without expensive heating equipment or electricity, using natural biological processes to create optimal growing conditions. The heated soil promotes faster germination and stronger seedling development during cool spring weather when outdoor temperatures remain too cold. Glass storm windows as cold frames. Old windows from house renovations provide free materials for building effective cold frames that protect plants during cool weather transitions. Amish communities salvage these windows rather than purchasing expensive commercial cold frame systems that cost $50 to $100 each. Old windows get a second career protecting plants instead of collecting dust in the barn. Glass provides superior light transmission compared to plastic alternatives, while offering better insulation properties for temperature regulation. The hinge design allows easy ventilation adjustment on warm days, preventing overheating that can damage tender plants. Salvage windows create professional quality cold frames at zero cost while reducing waste and extending the productive growing season significantly. Corn shock plant protection. Bundle corn stalks into upright shocks after harvest to create natural wind barriers around tender perennial plants and garden beds. Amish farmers position these bundled stalks strategically to protect vulnerable plants from harsh winter winds that can cause desiccation damage. The stalks trap snow around protected plants, providing insulation that moderates soil temperature fluctuations throughout winter months. This free protection method uses farm waste materials that would otherwise be burned or composted immediately. Corn shocks create effective microclimates that help marginally hardy plants survive cold winters while adding rustic charm to the winter garden landscape. Stone walls for season extension. Build low stone walls on the north side of tender plants to create thermal mass that moderates temperature fluctuations throughout the growing season. Amish gardens often feature these carefully positioned stone barriers that absorb heat during sunny days and release warmth slowly during cool nights. The stones create 5 to 10 degrees warmer microclimates that can mean the difference between plant survival and death during unexpected cold snaps. These walls provide wind protection while storing solar energy, extending both spring and fall growing seasons naturally. The thermal mass effect works continuously without any energy input, creating consistently better growing conditions for heat-loving crops like tomatoes and peppers. Early morning harvest. Pick vegetables before 8 in the morning when plant sugars reach their highest concentration levels throughout the entire day. Amish farmers have discovered that cool morning temperatures preserve freshness significantly longer than afternoon harvesting during hot weather. Plants remain fully hydrated from overnight dew, creating optimal conditions for maximum flavor and extended storage life. Morning harvest extends storage life by 3 to 5 days compared to vegetables picked during midday heat when plants are stressed. The cooler temperatures prevent wilting and maintain crisp textures that deteriorate rapidly in afternoon sun. This simple timing adjustment requires no additional equipment while dramatically improving the quality and longevity of fresh garden produce. Curing onions on barn roof. Slatted boards positioned on barn roofs provide ideal conditions for curing freshly harvested onions through natural air circulation and solar exposure. Amish communities utilize this elevated position to protect bulbs from ground moisture that can cause rotting during the critical curing period. Onions get the penthouse treatment while the chickens stay in economy class below. Full sun exposure combined with constant airflow completes the curing process in 10 to 14 days, creating tight, papery skins essential for long-term storage. Properly cured onions develop protective outer layers that prevent moisture loss and bacterial infection throughout winter storage. The elevated position also protects valuable crops from rodents and ground-dwelling pests that commonly damage stored vegetables. Root cellar ventilation. Install 4-inch diameter pipes at both floor and ceiling levels to create natural convection that maintains consistent temperatures between 32 and 40 degrees throughout winter months. Amish root cellars rely on this simple ventilation system rather than expensive mechanical cooling or heating equipment. Cold air enters through the low pipe while warm air exits through the high pipe, creating continuous air circulation that prevents dangerous temperature fluctuations. Natural convection maintains optimal storage conditions automatically without any energy input or mechanical maintenance requirements. Proper ventilation prevents condensation buildup that leads to spoilage while maintaining humidity levels necessary for long-term vegetable storage without dehydration or freezing damage. Apple storage in straw barrels. Layer fresh apples carefully in clean straw inside wooden barrels to create natural storage systems that preserve fruit for 4 to 6 months without refrigeration. Amish families have perfected this method for maintaining apple quality throughout winter when fresh fruit becomes scarce and expensive. Apples appreciate a cozy straw bed more than most teenagers appreciate their own beds. Straw absorbs excess moisture while preventing bruising that accelerates spoilage and attracts harmful bacteria. Store-filled barrels and cool cellars maintaining temperatures between 30 and 32 degrees for optimal preservation results. The straw creates individual cushioning for each apple while allowing air circulation that prevents the buildup of ethylene gas that causes premature ripening and decay. Cloth bags for small seeds. Sew small cloth bags from cotton fabric scraps to create superior seed storage containers that allow essential air circulation while protecting seeds from pests. Amish seamstresses repurpose worn clothing and household linens into practical seed storage solutions that outperform commercial alternatives. Label each bag clearly with variety names and harvest years using indelible ink that won't fade or wash away during storage. Cloth materials breathe naturally, preventing moisture buildup that destroys seed viability while protecting contents from rodents and insects. These handmade containers cost nothing to produce while providing better long-term seed preservation than paper packets that tear or plastic bags that trap moisture and promote mold growth. Seed testing by counting sprouts. Plant exactly 20 test seeds in a small garden patch each spring to determine germination rates before committing to full-scale planting efforts. Amish gardeners count sprouted seeds after 1 week to calculate precise viability percentages for their saved seed stocks. Testing seeds is like checking references before hiring, except plants are more honest about their qualifications. Adjust planting density based on actual germination percentages rather than hoping for perfect results from questionable seed quality. This method determines whether saved seeds justify planting space or require replacement with fresh commercial varieties. Poor germination rates below 60% indicate the need for new seed sources, while high rates allow for reduced seeding rates that save money and prevent overcrowding. Attic storage for seeds. Store seeds in sealed containers within unheated attics where cool, dry conditions naturally maintain viability for 3 to 5 years without special equipment. Amish households utilize these naturally climate-controlled spaces rather than investing in expensive seed storage systems or refrigeration units. Temperature fluctuations between day and night don't harm properly dried seeds, while the elevated location prevents rodent access to valuable seed supplies. Attic storage maintains consistent low humidity levels that preserve seed viability far longer than basement storage, where moisture problems commonly occur. The natural temperature variations actually benefit some seed types by simulating seasonal changes that maintain dormancy until proper planting conditions arrive. Plant selection for seed saving. Choose plants that produce the earliest harvests and largest yields for seed saving to gradually improve variety performance over multiple generations. Amish farmers understand that continuous selection for desirable traits creates locally adapted varieties that outperform generic commercial seeds. Mother Nature appreciates gardeners who know how to pick the best students for her advanced placement program. Save seeds only from completely disease-free, vigorous plants that demonstrate superior performance under local growing conditions. Select plants that show resistance to common regional pests and diseases while maintaining excellent flavor and storage characteristics. This patient selection process develops varieties perfectly suited to specific microclimates and soil conditions that commercial varieties cannot match. Corn, bean, squash. Triangle spacing. Plant corn hills 4 feet apart in triangular patterns rather than traditional straight rows to maximize growing space while providing natural support structures. Amish gardeners plant 4 to 6 bean plants around each corn hill, allowing beans to climb stalks for vertical growing space. Space squash plants 8 feet from corn hills in triangle centers where they can spread without interfering with other crops. This arrangement maximizes food production per square foot while creating beneficial plant relationships that improve soil fertility. The beans fix nitrogen that feeds both corn and squash, while squash leaves shade soil to conserve moisture and suppress weeds naturally. Sunflowers along garden edges. Tall sunflowers planted along garden perimeters provide effective windbreak protection while attracting beneficial insects and pollinators to improve overall garden productivity. Amish communities position these giant flowers strategically to create natural fence boundaries that define garden spaces without expensive fencing materials. Sunflower heads produce abundant seeds that provide nutritious food for both chickens and wild birds throughout fall and winter months. The flowers attract bees, butterflies, and other pollinators that increase fruit and vegetable yield significantly. These multi-purpose plants create attractive garden borders while serving practical functions that benefit the entire growing system through improved pollination and natural pest control. Herb border for pest control. Plant aromatic herbs around vegetable garden perimeters to create natural pest deterrent systems that protect crops without harmful chemicals. Amish gardeners strategically position basil, marigolds, and other strong-scented plants to confuse and repel insect pests through natural fragrance barriers. These herbs provide valuable household seasonings and traditional medicines while serving as garden guardians against destructive insects. Strong scents mask the attractive odors that draw pests to vulnerable vegetables, creating confusion that reduces crop damage significantly. The border creates an attractive transition between garden and yard areas while serving multiple practical purposes. This living fence approach eliminates the need for expensive chemical pest control treatments that can harm beneficial insects and soil organisms. Fruit trees in vegetable gardens. Dwarf fruit trees planted strategically within vegetable gardens provide beneficial partial shade for heat-sensitive crops during intense summer weather conditions. Amish orchardists understand that integration maximizes food production in limited space while creating favorable microclimates for tender vegetables. Fruit trees are the ultimate multitaskers, providing shade, food, and beauty without asking for overtime pay. Trees shelter lettuce, spinach, and other cool season crops from scorching afternoon sun that causes bolting and bitter flavors. Fallen fruit feeds chickens naturally, while decomposing organic matter enriches surrounding soil through natural composting processes. This integrated approach creates sustainable food systems where different plants support each other rather than competing for resources and growing space. Cloud reading for weather. High, thin clouds indicate significant weather changes approaching within 24 to 36 hours, providing reliable advance warning for garden planting activities. Amish farmers have developed keen observation skills for reading natural weather signs rather than relying on technology or forecasting services. Dark, low-hanging clouds signal immediate rain within 2 to 4 hours, allowing time for harvest or protection activities. Clear morning skies with building afternoon clouds suggest thunderstorm development that could bring damaging winds or hail. Cloud observation provides dependable short-term weather forecasting that helps gardeners make informed decisions about planting, harvesting, and protecting vulnerable crops from sudden weather changes without expensive meteorological equipment. Soil temperature planting. Use a metal rod inserted 4 inches deep to test soil warmth rather than relying on unreliable air temperature readings for planting decisions. Amish gardeners plant cool season crops when soil reaches 45 degrees, while warm season varieties require minimum soil temperatures of 65 degrees. Soil thermometers never lie about being ready, unlike teenagers on chore day. Soil temperature provides more accurate planting guidance than air temperature because underground conditions change more slowly and reflect actual root zone environments. Seeds germinate based on soil warmth rather than air temperature, making ground temperature the critical factor for successful sprouting. This simple testing method prevents costly replanting failures caused by premature seeding in cold soil that delays or prevents germination entirely. Dew point frost prediction. Heavy dew formation during evening hours indicates no frost danger that night, providing natural insurance for tender plants and crops. Amish farmers check plants at ground level where cold air naturally settles rather than trusting general weather forecasts for specific locations. Clear, dry conditions combined with light winds create perfect conditions for dangerous frost formation that can destroy entire crops overnight. Ground-level observation proves more accurate than distant weather station readings because microclimates vary significantly within short distances. This traditional forecasting method allows gardeners to take protective measures or harvest vulnerable crops before frost damage occurs, saving weeks of growing effort and valuable food production. Wind patterns for weather. Southwest winds bring warm, moist air masses that often develop into storm systems within 6 to 12 hours of arrival. Amish communities monitor wind direction changes as reliable indicators of approaching weather fronts that affect farming activities. Wind patterns tell better stories than the local gossip, and they're usually more accurate too. Northwest winds indicate clearing, cooler weather approaching that benefits certain crops while potentially threatening others with unexpected temperature drops. Sudden wind direction changes signal weather fronts moving through the area, requiring immediate attention to vulnerable plants or outdoor work schedules. This natural forecasting method provides advance warning that allows farmers to protect crops, plan harvesting activities, and prepare for changing growing conditions without expensive weather monitoring equipment. Linseed oil for tool handles. Soak new wooden tool handles in boiled linseed oil overnight to create protective barriers that prevent splitting and extend tool life significantly. Amish craftsmen treat handles immediately after purchase, rather than waiting for damage to occur, understanding that prevention costs less than replacement. Oil penetrates deep into wood fibers, creating flexible protection that moves with the wood during temperature and humidity changes. Treated handles last 3 to 4 times longer than untreated wood while maintaining comfortable grips that won't slip during heavy use. Annual oil applications maintain handle strength and appearance while preventing the cracking and splintering that makes tools dangerous and uncomfortable to use during extended work periods. Sandstone wheel sharpening. Natural sandstone wheels create proper blade angles while providing precise control over sharpening pressure and speed during tool maintenance sessions. Amish blacksmiths prefer hand-powered wheels that prevent metal overheating that can ruin blade temper and cutting effectiveness permanently. Sandstone wheels work at the speed of patience, which happens to be the perfect speed for sharp tools. Water cooling during grinding prevents dangerous heat buildup that weakens metal structure while maintaining optimal cutting angles for different tool types. These natural stone wheels last decades with proper maintenance, providing consistent sharpening results that keep tools performing at peak efficiency. The slow, controlled sharpening process preserves tool steel while creating razor-sharp edges that reduce work effort and improve cutting precision significantly. Forge repair for bent tools. Heat damaged tools in coal forges to orange-hot temperatures that make metal soft enough for reshaping with hammer and anvil techniques. Amish smiths repair bent or damaged implements rather than discarding valuable tools that can be restored to full functionality. Careful heating followed by gradual cooling prevents metal brittleness that occurs with rapid temperature changes during repair processes. Forge repair saves substantial money compared to purchasing replacement tools while often creating stronger implements than original factory construction. The reshaping process allows customization for specific user needs or unusual working conditions. This traditional metalworking skill extends tool life indefinitely while maintaining the quality and reliability needed for demanding agricultural and garden work. Garden markers from scrap wood. Cut pointed stakes from leftover barn construction materials to create durable plant identification markers that cost nothing to produce. Amish woodworkers use wood-burning tools to permanently mark plant varieties and planting dates directly into the wood surface. Paint or oil treatments protect markers from weather damage while maintaining readable identification throughout multiple growing seasons. These homemade markers withstand harsh outdoor conditions far better than paper or plastic alternatives that deteriorate rapidly in sun and rain. The pointed design allows easy insertion into soil, while the substantial construction prevents breakage during cultivation or weeding activities. Custom sizing accommodates different garden layouts, while permanent marking eliminates the frustration of unreadable plant identification tags. Layered manure pile system. Alternate 6-inch layers of manure with carbon materials like straw, leaves, or sawdust to create properly balanced compost piles that decompose efficiently. Amish farmers understand that correct carbon-nitrogen ratios prevent foul odors while accelerating decomposition through optimal microbial activity. Turn the pile monthly using a pitchfork to maintain aerobic conditions that produce sweet-smelling, nutrient-rich compost rather than anaerobic slime. Cover the entire pile with straw to retain essential moisture and heat that drive the composting process forward consistently. This systematic approach produces finished compost in 4 to 6 months compared to passive piles that require years to decompose completely, providing gardeners with regular supplies of soil-building organic matter. Crushed eggshells in compost. Eggshells provide valuable calcium carbonate that naturally balances soil pH while decomposing slowly to release nutrients throughout multiple growing seasons. Amish households save every eggshell from cooking and baking activities, crushing them before adding to compost piles for maximum surface area. Eggshells prove that good things come in protective packages, just like grandmother's advice. Crushed shells improve compost texture and drainage while preventing the formation of dense, waterlogged conditions that slow decomposition processes. This free calcium source prevents blossom end rot in tomatoes and peppers, a common problem caused by calcium deficiency in garden soils. The slow release of calcium creates long-term soil improvement that benefits crops for several seasons after application. Green manure, crop rotation. Plant fast-growing buckwheat in unused garden areas during summer months to improve soil fertility through natural nitrogen fixation and organic matter addition. Amish gardeners till under these plants when flowers begin blooming, before seed formation diverts plant energy away from leaf and root production. Decomposing plant material adds significant nitrogen and organic matter that improves soil structure and water retention capacity dramatically. The 60-day buckwheat cycle allows soil improvement before fall planting of cover crops or next season's vegetables. This technique transforms unproductive garden space into soil-building areas that enhance fertility without expensive fertilizer inputs or lengthy waiting periods for improvement to occur. Liquid manure for quick feeding. Mix aged manure with water in a 1:10 ratio to create liquid fertilizer that provides immediate nutrients to hungry plants during peak growing periods. Amish farmers strain this liquid mixture to prevent clogging of watering equipment while maintaining maximum nutrient content for plant feeding. Liquid manure is like coffee for plants, except it actually helps them grow instead of just keeping them awake. Apply directly to plant root zones weekly during active growing periods when plants require frequent feeding for optimal development. Liquid nutrients absorb immediately into soil, rather than requiring decomposition time like solid fertilizers, providing instant nutrition when plants need rapid growth responses. This method combines the benefits of organic fertilization with the speed of synthetic alternatives. Hill planting for better drainage. Create 6-inch high mounds for planting areas in gardens with heavy clay soil or poor drainage conditions that cause root rot problems. Amish gardeners build these elevated planting zones to shed excess water during wet periods while providing warmer soil temperatures for faster growth. Hills concentrate good soil in raised areas while improving drainage around plant root zones that require oxygen for healthy development. The elevated position allows better air circulation around plants while preventing waterlogged conditions that encourage fungal diseases and pest problems. This system works particularly well for root vegetables and heat-loving crops that struggle in poorly draining soils throughout wet growing seasons. Block planting versus rows. Square planting blocks maximize space utilization compared to traditional row planting while creating natural mulching effects through plant canopy coverage. Amish communities plant vegetables in solid blocks rather than long rows to increase yields by 25 to 30% per square foot. Block planting proves that teamwork beats solo performances even in the vegetable world. Plants grown in blocks naturally shade soil surfaces, conserving moisture while suppressing weed growth through competition and light blocking. Easier hand cultivation between plant groupings reduces maintenance time while improving access for harvesting and pest management activities. This intensive planting method requires careful spacing calculations but produces significantly higher yields from limited garden space while reducing watering and weeding requirements substantially. Succession planting calendar. Plant new crops every 2 to 3 weeks throughout the growing season to ensure continuous harvests rather than overwhelming abundance followed by scarcity. Amish families stagger plantings based on household consumption needs and preservation capacity to prevent waste from overproduction periods. Calendar planning ensures fresh vegetables remain available throughout the entire growing season, rather than concentrated harvest periods. Continuous plantings provide steady supplies for daily meals while avoiding the feast or famine cycles that characterize single planting approaches. This method requires careful record keeping and planning, but eliminates the disappointment of empty gardens during mid-season gaps when single plantings have finished producing but new crops haven't matured. Crop residue for next year. Chop corn stalks, bean plants, and other crop residues immediately after harvest, rather than burning or removing valuable organic matter from garden areas. Amish farmers work this plant material directly into soil during fall preparation activities to decompose over winter months naturally. Crop residue is nature's way of recycling, long before anyone invented the recycling symbol. Plant material breaks down slowly throughout cold months, adding essential organic matter that improves soil structure and water retention capacity significantly. Winter decomposition provides nutrients for next season's crops while building soil fertility through natural processes. This method transforms waste materials into valuable soil amendments while reducing the need for expensive organic matter purchases from outside sources. Underground root storage dig. Storage pits below the frost line in well-drained locations to create natural refrigeration systems for root vegetables throughout winter months. Amish communities line these excavated areas with clean straw and cover openings with wooden boards that provide insulation while allowing access. Layer vegetables carefully with straw insulation between different crops to prevent contact and reduce spoilage from direct touching. Underground storage naturally maintains temperatures between 32 and 35 degrees without any energy input or mechanical systems. This traditional preservation method keeps carrots, potatoes, and other root vegetables fresh for months while eliminating expensive refrigeration costs and reducing dependence on commercial food storage systems. Clay pot seed preservation. Store seeds in sealed ceramic containers that naturally regulate moisture levels while protecting valuable genetic material from rodents and insects. Amish households have used traditional clay storage methods for generations, understanding that ceramic materials provide superior long-term seed preservation compared to modern alternatives. Clay breathes naturally, preventing moisture buildup that destroys seed viability while maintaining optimal humidity levels for extended storage periods. These containers protect seeds from temperature fluctuations while creating barriers against pests that commonly destroy stored seed supplies. Traditional storage methods maintain seed viability for decades when properly implemented, ensuring reliable planting material for future growing seasons while preserving heirloom varieties that connect families to their agricultural heritage. These Amish secrets prove that the best gardens work with nature, not against it. Start with just one technique and watch your workload shrink while your harvest grows. The smartest gardening happens when you let these time-tested methods do the hard work for you.